Am I overreacting for thinking my company deserved what happened after they tried to steal our vacation time? I used to work for a large, family-owned manufacturing company that was known for one rare and honestly unbelievable thing. They treated long-time employees like actual human beings. Anyone who worked there for 25 years or more received 8 full weeks of vacation time and 2 additional weeks of personal leave. It wasn't a perk, it was part of the culture. You couldn't cash it out, couldn't sell it off, couldn't convert it. You had to take it. The original owner believed rest made better workers, and the entire plant operated around that philosophy. And one of the longest-running employees there was a man named Jimmy. Everyone knew Jimmy. He'd been with the company since he was 20, was now 63, and had hit the stage of life where he had zero patience, zero fear, and zero interest in playing corporate games. He also happened to be one of only 2 people in the entire plant who knew how to make a specific, highly patented part, a part the entire production line depended on. Then out of nowhere, the owner announced he was selling the company to a corporation. He said there would be minimal changes, wished everyone well, and retired. Within weeks, the corporate suits came in and immediately went after every benefit that made the company loyal. Vacation slashed from 8 weeks to 4. Personal time? Gone. Anyone with more than 4 weeks now had to use the extra or lose it, with no payout whatsoever. And then they hit the office and started firing anyone close to retirement, including the only other person besides Jimmy who knew how to make that crucial part. Corporate didn't stop there. They changed a major rule: vacation no longer needed manager approval. They announced, proudly, that employees may now call in and use PTO freely. They might as well have handed Jimmy a detonator. But the final insult came when they hired a young guy and told Jimmy to train him, clearly preparing to replace him once they squeezed every bit of knowledge they could from him. Jimmy saw exactly what was happening and decided he wasn't going to play along. On the new guy's first day, Jimmy simply called in and said he'd be taking all of his remaining PTO at once. He was gone, for 10 straight weeks. At first, nobody panicked. We had a backlog of the parts Jimmy had made. But as the weeks passed, the inventory shrank. Corporate started sweating, and when the day came for Jimmy to return, he didn't show. 2 days. No Jimmy. No phone call. Management even drove to his house. Nothing. Then on day 3, Jimmy finally called in and calmly resigned. He had found a new job during his time off and moved on. The panic that followed was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Without Jimmy, and with his backup fired, nobody in the entire company knew how to make the patented part. Corporate begged supervisors, checked old manuals, tried every workaround imaginable. Nothing worked. The part wasn't something you learned in a week or even a month. It was proprietary, technical, and developed decades ago by the original owner. So the corporation, the same corporation that gutted benefits and fired loyal employees, had to crawl back to the retired founder and ask him to retrain an entire new team. When he heard what they'd done, he was furious. And he didn't hide it. He charged them a 7-figure contract fee to rebuild the knowledge base they destroyed, and because the company couldn't operate without that part, they had no choice but to pay him. Jimmy, meanwhile, settled into his new job and later returned only after a major restructuring brought back many of the benefits corporate had stripped away. He didn't sabotage anything. He didn't break rules. He simply followed the new rules corporate created, exactly how they wrote them, and chose not to save them from their own arrogance. But because some people keep saying Jimmy went too far and that I'm romanticizing a meltdown, I can't help but ask myself, am I overreacting for thinking the company brought every bit of this disaster on themselves? Because from where I stood, Jimmy wasn't the problem, he was the consequence.